Why the fuck isn't my manifestation here yet? What is up, BLivers? By the end of this video, you will be clear on exactly why your manifestation isn't here yet, or why it isn't working, and exactly what to do about it. Let's dive in. Welcome back to another video, friends. I know a lot of you are really excited to see this video because it's something that a lot of you have been requesting. Merely because you're wondering why you haven't even received your manifestation yet, or you're wondering if you're even on the track to receive your manifestation. Like, why do I feel like I'm not even there yet? So you're gonna be absolutely pleased to know that there are only 3 simple reasons why you are not perceiving and receiving the manifestation you are setting intentions for. And it's not some big long list. Like, it's just literally 3 simple reasons that you can easily address so that you can receive that which you want. Now, before we dive in, I am Elizabeth, so if you are new here and we don't know each other, comment your name and say what's up. And here on this channel, we are all about designing a life of fulfillment through conscious creation. So if you about that life, make sure you smash the subscribe button with the bell notification. That way you're updated anytime I make a video upload for you, because they're coming for you weekly. Okay, so diving into number 1. Number 1 is something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with because a lot of us just want it now, right? So number 1 is law of gestation. And if you aren't familiar with law of gestation merely states that for anything to come into fruition, a process is involved, right? It doesn't have to be like some big, long, time-consuming process. Just a process is involved, right? In order to birth a baby, you can't just like have a baby. Like, a process has to be involved, right? In order to grow a plant, a tree, a process is involved. Now, this isn't to say that things can happen very instantaneous for you. Like, say if you were like sitting under a tree, a fruit tree, and you're like, oh my gosh, I really wish someone would bring me food right now, and all of a sudden like a piece of fruit hits you on the head. Like, that could very much happen. Or you set the intentions to, hit an X dollar amount today, and then you receive a phone call with an opportunity. Things like that can happen very instantaneously, but it's really only happening when you are very much in what we're going to talk about in number 2. So for the most part, since a lot of us are going through this transformation process, there's a lot of things we need to work through with our shadow. Our vibration is a little wonky. So the process, the time in order to get from point A to Z to receive our manifestation, there's going to be a little bit longer of a process than that instantaneous, because we need to kind of work our way through that vibrational alignment. So things to help you with this law of gestation, this process that, this time that it takes in order to get to what you want. You can just work on, of course, having patience. But if that doesn't work for you, if you're someone like me who's just like, oh my gosh, I don't like to practice patience, just keep getting excited about what's to come. Because if you focus on like, if you like having patience and you think that's a strong virtue, cool, keep doing that. But say if you're someone like me who's like, I don't like being patient, shift your focus on, I'm not being patient, I'm just getting more excited, I'm getting more excited, I'm getting more excited. And then you can also shift your focus into, hey, this helps me develop a stronger relationship with the level of faith I have. So law of gestation tests your patience, it helps you stay charged, and it tests your level of faith. So those are 3 things you can do to overcome this thing. But just know, if you haven't yet received it, this law is governing. This law is always taking place, and it's occurring right now. So don't get psyched out if you haven't yet received it, if it hasn't yet instantaneously happened. It's on its way to you. There's just a cycle that is involved. So number two states that basically the more you are in number 2, the faster number 1 will happen for you. So number 2 is that you are out of frequency, you're out of alignment with that which you want. So just like any radio station picking up signal, it has to be literally in the receiving state in order to even pick up in order to even pick up that sound. I like choked on my spit, but I don't know. But anyways, so, and just like the law of correspondence states, so just like a radio, you have to be in that receiving state to receive the frequency. But also, knowing how that works, there's also a law of the universe called law of correspondence, and that law basically is in relations to how there's infinite realities going on all at once, and in order for you to be in the reality of what you want. You just have to internally match it first. You have to first internally vibrationally match, be vibrationally on the frequency of that which you desire, so that you can then physically see, physically hear, physically feel, like, and all that stuff, like tangibly, that which you want. It doesn't matter how hard you're working, what strategy you have, or who you know. If you're out of the frequency of that which you want, you will literally be pounding away, just stressed out, not getting the results you want. And so you know whether you are in the frequency by merely using emotional intelligence. Right now I have a whole free course on how to get into the money frequency. That's limited time. That's going up after April, so you guys can grab it for free right now. But that same, even if you're like saying, okay, well, I'm good on money, you can take that same course, apply those same principles, and understand like this whole being in the vibrational frequency thing, because it's the fundamental of that course that you can take and apply to receiving anything, whether that be money, whether that be love, whether that be a particular experience you want for yourself, whether that be an object. So it's all about first matching the frequency, and you know where you're in the frequency whenever you feel great, because that which you set intentions for, you want it because it's going to make you feel great. So that what you set intentions for is of a frequency that makes you feel great. So when you feel anything less than that, you know you're out of vibrational alignment with it. Like I said, if you haven't watched a lot of my videos, or you really want to nail this subject more, that frequency is in that free course is in the description for you guys. But some of the things that keep us out of frequency is not the emotions ourselves, because the emotions are literally an indicator of what we're thinking. So it's not your emotions are keeping you out of the frequency. They're first the signal to then tell you what is keeping you out of frequency. So it could be basically your physiology. Maybe you don't have the right proper fluid and nutritional needs. Maybe you are slouched over. Your physiology commands how you feel. So if you're lacking nutrients, you're gonna feel hangry. If you are slouched over, you're gonna feel less energy. So how's your physiology? Some other things is like, what are our beliefs? What are our expectations? What are the things we're repeating back and forth, our thought-wise? Like, that's huge. Our whole perception on things. That's what's really gonna align us. So what are we thinking? How can we use our emotional intelligence to shift us back into alignment? That is huge. That is the main reason why anybody is not receiving their manifestation in the first place, because time isn't real, right? Time isn't real. And so the second you line up with that frequency, you experience it. You experience it. You're on the track to experience it. Now, just like say something that's very instantaneous, like what we used with the fruit. Like, you could be sitting under a fruit tree and you're like, oh, I wish someone would bring me food, and then you get hit on head with the fruit. Number 3, going back to like the 3 reasons why we would not receive our manifestation. If we use this example, number 3 is the reason why you would not get the fruit. And number 3 is not following your intuition, your gut. So I know you guys all hear about, you'll receive inspired action or whatever. And so for people that hear that and they're not that familiar with it, they feel like they're going to feel like charged or excited, or like, just like, yeah, like, I'm inspired to do it. But like, that's not how inspired action really is most of the time. It can feel like that, but you are just going to have like a strong urge. A lot of it might not seem logical. You might, like, your logical brain might be like, I don't want to do that. But intuitively, you always know, because it'll just feel right. You'll feel like, no, for some reason, I feel like I shouldn't do that, or I should do this. Even if it like currently goes against like your current values and beliefs, there'll be resistance, especially. So it won't always feel like, oh, I'm super inspired. But you'll just feel like you'll have a knowing to do something. So if we use that example, like say it happened very instantaneous and something hit you on the head, you got your manifestation, right? But you technically hadn't received it if you didn't, like, say you just felt like something hit your head, and then you received the inspiration to like turn your head to like look on the ground to see what hit you, and then you realize, oh my God, it's the fruit, it's the thing I asked, and it's my manifestation. But what a lot of people get stumped up in is whenever that fruit would hit them on the head, that inspired action, and they would have the urge to like turn to like look, they get stumped up and they don't trust their intuition, they don't trust themselves, and so they don't take that inspired action. They don't take the action steps that allow them to finally receive it, even if the apple was literally only like a reach away. Instead, they might just get angry and be like, why the hell was I hit on the head? You know? So like this is like detrimental to people because the manifestation was right there. There's many paths to the manifestation, so don't feel like, oh my God, I messed up my chance. Like, you have multiple shots at this, don't worry. But that's a big reason why, because people they feel like this inspired action has to feel like so golly and joyous, and like sometimes it'll not feel like, or not logically seem right, but it'll feel right. And whenever you don't go for it, you then miss it, and then you reinforce to yourself like, see, I knew that wouldn't work, and then you're reinforcing the belief that you can't have it, that it's hard for you, that you're not cut out, or whatever, all their excuses that are keeping you out of frequency of it, keeping you from picking up that fruit, and it just reinforces it, and then it follows you in this pattern, and you go down and down and down. So in order to bring yourself back out of that pattern, it's first to become aware of these things, and also to intentionally incorporate it throughout your day. So like, how am I being aware of sometimes, or like intentionally incorporate these things out your day? Like, what am I being aware of as far as like my thoughts? What is my physiology telling me? What do I feel impulsed to do? Even if it doesn't seem logical, does it feel right to me? So you want to ask yourself these questions. And before we get off this video, you really want to ask yourself, like, which one of these three, it could be all three, which is totally okay. But before we hop off this video, you want to ask yourself, like, which one of these three do I feel like I'm struggling with the most? And you'll know, always use your emotional intelligence. You'll always know by which one feels like the nastiest too. So like logically, when you're going back through these things, like, oh, it's probably like the patience thing, you know, but like it doesn't, the patience thing doesn't irritate you as much, but like maybe like the inspired action part, like really like, even though it doesn't, like, no, I feel like I always follow my gut, but like when you read that and when I was talking about it, it just like really felt nasty to you. That's how you know it's the thing. Never go off what your like logical mind means when you're doing this like personal transformation. It's very intuitive based. Your logical mind is your critical mind. So your critical mind is also limited because it's formed off of like your life experience. So if you keep going off of what's logical, you're going to keep getting what you literally are already perceiving in your life. That's literally how the brain works. So you have to go off of what is intuitive, and it's not always going to seem logical. So ask yourself, you know, which one of these three am I doing? And then also ask yourself, what can I do in order to better address myself? Let me know in the comments which ones you guys are doing. Like I said, that frequency course is free, limited time, in the description. Sometimes when people get stuff for free, they don't take advantage of it because they feel like it's worth free. But this is something that involves neuroscience. It's talking about quantum physics, and it literally teaches you how a radio station receives their messages in the first place so that you can do the same with receiving any of your intended manifestation. With that being said, my friends, I love you guys so much. And as always, dream big, live large, and be live. Bye.